Key,
Yo.
what is the 49ers' biggest issue?
The season is over.
That is the biggest issue.
That's the biggest issue. Is the season is a wrap. But look, their franchise quarterback didn't play well, and part of it was the rain. But even when the rain stopped in the second half, he just didn't play well. Deebo Samuel didn't play well. Mm-hmm. You look at all the bad weather and just different things. They missed a number of players. It was clear last night, and they didn't get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. Now, defense plays solid at times. I mean, it's hard to really get a true gauge of something in bad weather like that. But when you look at it, the Rams made enough plays to put enough field goals on the scoreboard, and San Francisco did not. Then when I'm looking at this, and you mentioned the window closing, I can honestly, and I said this before, and you kind of looked at me, kind of funny as always, when I said I could see Kyle Shanahan stepping away at the end of the season and recharging his battery to become the hottest dude in 2026. I can honestly see that, because when you have a team that is now getting ready to have some salary cap difficulties on who to sign and playing those sort of games, is Deebo Samuel going to be back? Is Ward coming back? What are they going to do with certain players that they have? And you start to say to yourself as a coach, and he looks tired and weathered. He looks like he's just drained right now because they can't get right. To walk away and just say, you know what, I'm going to go do something different right now. And you start hearing things like other teams looking to trade for him to become their coach. Yeah. When you start hearing that sort of stuff, it's like, okay, he might be getting fed up with the San Francisco 49ers right now. I can see him pulling the Sean Payton, Bill Parcells, just stepping away for a little bit.
All right, my biggest takeaway from not only last night, but the whole season for the 49ers. Hey, listen, you don't just go into the season as Super Bowl favorites and look like this. There has to be reasoning. I mean, obviously they deal with injuries all year long. So when you lose guys like, didn't have CMC at the beginning of the year, which is a big key to what they do. I mean, I'm talking about this guy was an MVP candidate. Then you lose Ayuk. And now you got Trent Williams out. Deebo hasn't had the best of seasons. You got to chalk it up to the injuries. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we knew Purdy, he's not a Josh Allen or Lamar, but if he has his weapons and they're all healthy, the 49ers it'll be no-brainer that this team will be in the playoffs. But unfortunately, every team deals with issues of injury. And, I don't know what's going to happen with this team next year because, like he said, they're going to have to make some decisions about Purdy. What are you going to do with Deebo? And what's Trent Williams going to do with his future?
Look, health has been a problem all season long. They've also played a tremendous amount of postseason games. I believe they've played second only to the Chiefs in postseason games in the past couple years, which makes sense since they've been to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game year after year after year. They play a very physical style of ball, and their stars have been injured. It's not like they've had issues with depth. They've had issues with the biggest names on their team, the most crucial parts of what makes them a winner out. Guys like Trent Williams missing 3 games, McCaffrey missing 10 games. Brandon Ayuk missing 7 games. Bosa missed 3 games. Greenlaw obviously was out 13 games. Javon Hargrave was out 11 games. Jennings missed 2 games. George Kittle missed a game. Brock Purdy's been banged up. Yeah, those are all the guys you would mention when you talk about what makes them effective and dangerous and at sometimes dominant. So for them to miss this amount of time, it's really hard to get any kind of chemistry or consistency going. And the other part of it is Brock Purdy has not been the player to elevate them past adversity. We know what kind of coach Kyle Shanahan is, but you can't be the same player that you were the year before when you have all of your guys out of the lineup. You have to level up. And we'll get to Brock Purdy in a second about what they're going to do with him and how this season is going to affect his future. But you just can't have the same numbers that you did last year, close to the same numbers that you did last year when everyone was healthy. You've got to have better numbers. You've got to level up. You've got to be the galvanizing force, the franchise quarterback. And I get it. A lot of guys would struggle in this situation. But then a lot of guys wouldn't ask for to reset the market. Yeah, so it's really been tough all around for them this year. And keep in mind, again, they were coming off of a Super Bowl year. Teams that don't win the Super Bowl tend to have down years the next year for a variety of reasons, whether it is things going on in the locker room. Usually it has something to do with health, or you lose guys and you don't have the same lineup that you did the year before. But a Super Bowl hangover is dubbed that for a reason, and there are a variety of different reasons why they could look like that. But
they lost the Super Bowl before and came right back and was in a position to get back. You know what I'm saying? So it was really, I think more so than anything, it was their injuries.
Yeah,
That's
the injuries
really
completely
more so
derailed
than
the season.
anything. It was their injuries.
But for this year, there are repercussions to the injuries.
Yeah, finally caught up to them.
Because not only did it finally catch up to them, but the roster's not going to look the same next year. And a guy that we've talked about potentially not being there next year is Deebo Samuel. He had a huge drop that he feels may have decided the game. How bad was last night for Deebo?
Wasn't good at all. I mean, I hate to see that, especially for a guy who wanted to be targeted more and be more involved. He took his eyes off the ball because he knew, if I get it, I'm gone. I'm going to split this, I'm going to turn the corner, and it's going to be a touchdown. Unfortunately, those boos could have been cheers, but they were boos. They actually, booed him at the crib. So, that hurts. I just hate to see it because he's a really, really terrific player, and that could have been a six-pack because he was going to turn that corner and outrace whoever that was to the pylon. 7 attempts, he had 7 targets, 3 catches, 16 yards. Okay, 2 rushes on the ground for another 3 yards, 6 drops on the season. This year just hasn't been the year for him. It just hasn't. I hate to see it, though. I hate to see when you call for the shot.
Yeah, that's
I'm calling for the shot.
Yeah, then you get the shot.
And I give you the shot because I know how coaches talk, Yeah. You know what I'm saying, Joy? And you do, too. He asked me the ball, gave ball. They all that. I hate to see that.
Yeah.
I hate to see
It's
that.
affirmation bias because there's been plenty of times where Deebo has made that catch and ruined someone's day.
Yeah, but they're not thinking about
Have you ever been booed
that.
at the crib?
Excuse me?
Have you been booed at the crib?
As a rookie, yeah, we were 1 of 15. We all got booed.
Yeah.
But other than that, I never. Other than that, nah. Mm-mm. Even when I had subpar games, I was never booed.
Well,
Yeah, I was booed at the crib for sure.
At the crib?
Yeah, at the crib. We was bad. I think it was
No, I'm saying as a team, yeah.
Yeah, as a team.
I don't take
As a
it me
team.
personally,
No, it wasn't-
individually. I don't think that was the
me
case.
Personally, well, it might have been me. I think. I thought about it because I think I missed the dunk on the breakaway. We were already playing bad. It was frustration. And
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was more the team, man.
Yeah,
That's
it was
good
a
accountability by
combination.
you, Paul.
Yeah. It probably
might have played a little role.
I think it played a role in it. But yeah, Deebo should be kicking himself because he had an opportunity. He asked for it. He got it, and he didn't deliver. Now, a lot of things can play into this. The 49ers have looked deflated for some weeks now. They have an up and down season. They dealt with the injuries. Deebo's in a contract year.
Yeah, essentially.
A lot of things,
essentially
a contract year. So, a lot of things can factor into him.
But he's good enough, though. If he was on the open market in the streets, he's going to still get his money.
Yeah, he good.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
so, too. But,
He's too
I
dynamic
think
of a
when
weapon.
like the weather yesterday, when it rains, it pours, and it sure did pour on the San Francisco 49ers. And, you have to wonder where do they go from here. You're over here talking about Shanahan may take off, Deebo may leave. We may be watching the end of this era for the San Francisco Niners to where a team that was once, a pretty dominant team in the last 5-6 years, making a run. So we might,
These type
might
of
be
years,
taking a back seat now.
and you see it, Joy and Paul, you see it in the NBA. These type of years deflate coaches, though. It eats at their core so they can't stand it anymore, to the point where they got to now just go live in Hawaii for 6 months and go play golf and recharge their battery and then get back in it later on. That's why I said what I said about Shanahan, because I could look at him on the sideline. He had no answers. He's just like, man, it's here, And then you start hearing the possibilities of other teams wanting to poach him, and it's just...
Well, it's also got to be frustrating to be so close multiple times and not get it done.
And then, like
to
you
then
said,
have to deal with a year like this.
But like you said, though, Joy, close multiple times, have a year like this, and knowing that we got a lot of decisions to make, so it's essentially starting all over again with a quarterback that has shown us when he doesn't have all the pieces around him, even though I've been fighting for him, he doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
He just doesn't look the same.
Well, someone who wasn't fighting for anyone last night didn't play in the game and actually stole the headlines. In the fourth quarter, 49ers linebacker De'Vondre Campbell walked off the field. Campbell had been starting for the 49ers until Dre Greenlaw returned for this game. Ooh, sucker. That used to be the
I'll
craziest
tell you
thing
about
you could
these
say to
football
somebody.
players, Joy. These football players, they'll quit on you. This is the second time I've seen something like this.
I'm about to throw something at you.
We got tomatoes.
Man, shut up.
I'm just saying, these football, you ain't never heard of this in no hoop game. You ain't never heard somebody say, I ain't going to check in the game. I'm going to just walk to the locker room and I'm done.
Oh,
I'm
there's
just
been some
saying.
pretty
It's
notorious.
been
I can't
Let
think
me
of not
dig into
one
my
person.
inventory.
You got to, man.
There's been some pretty notorious.
Oh, no, I remember Scottie Pippen. Pip said he wasn't going in because Kukoc
He
was going
didn't
to
check
take
in
the
the
shot.
game, though, but he stayed there. Remember, we talked about this in the back. At least he stayed there.
I don't understand the difference.
Yeah, no, he did stay.
He stayed
Pip didn't
there.
leave, but
He didn't leave.
He didn't leave, but he didn't go in the game, and Kukoc knocked the shot down.
He played the next game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand.
This dude, he not playing no more for San Fran.
No, he ain't playing no more in the National Football League.
That's what I'm saying.
Reportedly, the Niners are figuring out the best way to part with him. So it seems that the Niners, at the very least, are done with him. So what are your thoughts on him walking off mid-game?
Man, I've never seen anything like this, and I don't want to come to a conclusion on it yet, because I know you never know what somebody's going through. Maybe it was something he's dealing with off the field that it just got to the point. The combination of him playing and his playing time is getting kind of pulled back in the last few weeks, and then he dealing with this off the court. Or off the field, it just got to the point where he just couldn't take it no more and just was like, man, I'm out of here. So you never know what kind of pressure somebody's dealing with. So I don't want to really go in on it. It was very unprofessional, I will say that. If you are dealing with somebody, tell the coach, don't say I don't want to just play. Say I'm dealing with something, I can't go in right now. But it was the most unprofessional thing I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I like you, Paul. As we like to say, you good. you real good softening that blow. They should have cut him yesterday, though.
Dang.
After the game, they should have just told him.
If there wasn't no explanation, it should have been just gone, huh?
Man, he shouldn't even be in the building today.
Right.
Transaction, but I understand what you just said, Joy. They're trying to figure it out because NFLPA in the union and things of that nature. They got to do it a certain way. They can't just.
But he's essentially cut.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Not one of those teammates that we just showed said anything other than they've never been around that before.
And they never want to see him again.
They never want to see him again. It's cut bait. They don't want to play with that type of guy.
Let your teammates start talking like that.
Like, it's not, look.
Yeah.
And I know, Joy, in our production meeting, we were trying to figure out what the difference is, right? Walking off the field and just leaving, abandoning your team, opposed to not checking into the game when they ask you to go into a game. Many times I've seen players with few minutes left on the clock, and they talk about you go in. They're like, man, I'm not going in there. I've seen that at every single level, from high school to college and into the pros, where they try to put you in junk time. And dudes is like, man, please. You know that. That wasn't junk time. This is the third quarter in a game that can keep you in a playoff hunt. When Greenlaw goes down, who you replace for 10 games, we all know Greenlaw, when he's healthy, he's a guy. You're the backup for a reason.
Right.
Now, Paul, you talked about maybe there's some other stuff, underlining things that could be the case. Yeah. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But what I do know is that you participated all week in practice. You took valuable reps away from other guys that could have took those reps in practice and been ready at that particular position just in case something happened.
Right.
And then you go to the locker room. Like, I didn't even know he went to the locker room until today. This morning, I'm like, the locker room? Because I couldn't understand why everybody, I was like, oh, he didn't want to go in. He was mad. But they're like, no, he went into the locker room. The only other time I seen somebody ever leave the field and go into the locker room was when Antonio Brown did what he did at Giant Stadium. For whatever reasons he did it, he wound up going into the locker room. He never, ever put on another uniform again. I will say he will never, ever put on another NFL uniform again. He will never put on another uniform again.
Until we find out if something's going on, though.
I'm not doing that. I don't know what's going on. I'm just talking about that.
And I hear you on that. But even if you are dealing with something, you are an adult. You're a grown adult.
Yeah.
And you know what's at stake. So it's still unprofessional. Even if
is.
you are going through something,
Right.
you need to let someone know
You have to let
this is
someone
what's
know.
happening.
Absolutely.
And then you don't have to get into it, but this is
Right.
what's happening, and then do what you need to do
Right.
at the very least.
At the very
that is
owe that
what
to
you
your
owe
team.
that
So-
to your
Yeah,
teammates and
yes.
to your coach, your bosses. You
Organization.
are an employee. Like this is sometimes you have to
100%.
do things in your job you don't want to do. By the way, play better and you won't be the backup. You don't
Well,
want to
that's
go
true.
in because you're losing your position. The only reason you had that position in the first place is because the starter got hurt. You didn't earn that.
Yeah.
You earned the right to be the backup to a better player. So how are you going to have an attitude about going in and doing your job? It's what you get paid to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a role on a team. Whether it's a role you want or don't want, play better, you have a different role. Right. Now you're not going to have no roles because you literally quit.
Yeah,
it's just completely unprofessional.
He really was mad, Paul. You know how mad I done been on the field, though? I done been just fire just coming out my nostrils, but I would never walk off the field.
Yeah.
I'm not going to I just go in the game, whatever, but
Well, a certain level of professionalism, too. I mean,
know?
we all deal with up and down anger and heaviness and emotions and all of those things, but there's a certain level of professionalism. You know, like you said, you don't go in, but don't leave.
yeah,
Don't leave the field of battle.
Yeah, don't
Don't
leave.
do that.
I don't get the not going in part either, but you quit.
Yeah.
Like, you quit your
I know
job.
it sound, and I don't know how to get there, that I'm trying to get there on the going in versus the leaving the field. It's just that I think going in, it feels like
Like, lie to me. Something.
I could a
I'm
little
dealing
bit
with something.
understand a little bit better, like, oh, he ain't going in because Greenlaw came back. He mad. He like, forget that.
Tell me
But
your
when he
back hurt or
left,
something. Tell me your back hurt.
Who,
It just-
who says you get to be mad about that?
I understand what you're saying, but I don't know. I guess because I've seen
I mean, I
guys
don't
do that
see
before.
the difference for the reasoning that we are, deducing it happened.
But see, if he go in, but if he even go in the game and he ball out, we may never hear from Greenlaw again. He may just, what if he go in there, turn the game around with a pick six, anything? Now all of a sudden, he's the guy.
Because what you're talking about, like guys saying they're not going to go in and
Play.
in garbage time
Yeah,
and things like
garbage
that.
time,
Like
yeah.
that is that's different than this entirely. This is you saying I'm not going to do this job.
And your season on the line, though.
Right.
Like, your season, this is like a
Yeah.
major
This
game.
is the most important game of the season.
Like, that's another thing. So that's why I see how his teammates in their interview, like, nah, we ain't feeling that. Nah, that's sucker. That's this, that's that.
Now, it's a real sucker move, though, to
Yeah,
do
that's,
that one.
that's weak. That's weak.
I can't do that one.
It's a very 1970s insult. That used to be the craziest thing you could say.
What?
Right? It's fighting words.
Sucker move?
Yeah.
What you want me to call him, a chump? Like, what you want
No,
to say?
I'm not saying that's what it is. He said it. His teammates
that's
said
what
it.
I'm saying, sucker
And that's what
move.
it is. Like, you can't just quit. You cannot quit. Everything else aside, it's just unprofessional. Like,
Yeah.
everybody has jobs. If you're not capable of doing it that day for whatever reason, and also, you're not exempt from being mad. You're not exempt from being in a position you don't want to be in. You're not the only one dealing with those things.
wondering
There are
if
guys
he-
who are backups who have to go in and step up all the time. What, you're special?
I wonder if he showered or just left the building. No, because when you mad, sometimes you just put your clothes on and roll out. You don't want to hear nothing from nobody.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. For sure.
Right?
Yeah,
Paul,
yeah,
I done
yeah.
done that.
I done done that, too.
Look, when
I
it's,
don't want to talk to no media.
I don't want to talk to
just threw
nobody.
my
I done put my clothes on. I'm
got out
gone.
of there.
I'll holler at y'all
That was all
tomorrow.
about the media, though,
You know?
because you don't want to see the media after.
No, I didn't want to talk to the coaches. I ain't nothing to do with the media.
Yeah, I'd have done that. I'd have definitely
Damn.
done that.
Well, flipping over to the winning side of this one, the Rams got an ugly win last night after a shootout with the Bills the week before. So what did the Rams prove? What did your Rams prove?
I'm not
Paul?
sure if they really proved nothing in that game. I was a little disappointed. But, they showed me I guess if I could say one thing, they proved to me that they can win and not play well. And that's the characteristics I've seen for the great teams, because I've seen it with the Lions when Goff threw 5 picks, and I've seen it every week with the Kansas City Chiefs. I haven't seen them really play, to their potential, and they continue to win. So they show me at their best what they showed me last week versus the Bills, and they show me at their worst that they are a really, really good team, and they could be a threat to win the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, because look, you got championship experience over there, and I've said this. You got Sean McVay, you got a championship quarterback, you got Cooper Kupp, who's been in the lights, and a number of guys that's on that sideline that's been there. They're a true threat. They are a true threat that they can really make some noise.
If they make the postseason.
If they make the postseason,
If they make the postseason,
they
yes.
can scare some people, I think. I don't think they're going to get to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But they can certainly scare some people. And they did it with the recipe that I like. think about it. They had 27 attempts. So he was 16 of 27 in the rain for $160. Now, I would have liked for him to score a touchdown in the air, but it didn't happen. And they rushed for 142 yards on 38 attempts. That was averaging 3.7 yards a carry. That's all I need you to do. And they kicked some field goals. They played some defense. The other team didn't score more. And if they could win this division somehow, some way, because Seattle has a tougher stretch down the way as they play. And they play each other at the end of the season, so it could come down to winner take all at the end of the year.
Well, the Rams are currently a half game behind the Seahawks in the NFC West. They have a 51% chance to make the playoffs and the 11th easiest remaining schedule. So they're at the Jets, then they have the Chargers and the Seahawks. So winning out was obviously the most the easiest scenario. They control their own fate. If they win out, they'll beat Seattle. They'll have the head-to-head tiebreaker advantage. So they have the best chance to qualify through the playoffs through the NFC West. They're still behind the Commanders, who are last place in the NFC playoff picture. So it's very much still on the board for the Rams. I would agree. I don't know that they are necessarily Super Bowl contenders, although if they win out, we might have to have that conversation.
Well, yeah, they win the division. They'll be the third seed, I guess. They probably would be the third seed. Mm-hmm. So that means that they'll get the fifth, right? No, they'll get the sixth. They'll get the sixth. Mm-hmm. And who's the sixth seed right now? And they'll have a home playoff game.
Well, let's pull the playoff picture back up.
Whoever the sixth seed is right now, they'll have a home playoff game. So they'll play against that particular team at home. And the Rams, for whatever reason, they play different at home than they do on the road.
Yeah, and like Paul said, they are thank you. They are
You got Paul be having all this stuff. So
right now it's the Packers in the sixth seed right now.
If they push to the third seed.
And the Packers are not going to win their division. So
they'll push to the third seed?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll push, they'll be the third seed instead of Seattle, and then the Packers will probably still be hovering around.
Mm-hmm. It'll be some combination likely of Seattle, Washington, the Packers. Mm-hmm. in that space.
Ooh, some nice matchups in the NFC.
It can get really interesting. And then you have Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford together, won a Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp.
They got to get Cooper Kupp involved, though. He was blank last night.
Yeah. Well, everyone was blank last night.
Not Puka, as Michael would say. What Michael called him?
I don't know.
Cooper.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.